We did.
Like, I can't hear you. All right, give me a minute here.
It's 2 o'clock.
Oh, I forget to tell everybody it's recording already when they jump on.
What a
Ready
day,
to
what a day, what a mighty fine day.
Yeah, is it out there?
It's actually kind of overcast, to be honest. Well, what does the weather look like for this weekend? I don't know. I do not know. We have a family of 6 coming in tonight to stay with us for the weekend, so it's going to be.
Ooh.
Well, it's going to be cloudy till this evening. 88, then 87, then 88, then 85. It's like next weekend, 103.
Wow.
This is the Pacific Northwest. What has happened?
El Nino.
We haven't had a day this summer under 80 degrees. It's just crazy. It's bananas.
Wow. We haven't been super warm at all.
What?
It's actually cooler here than
Normal?
Yeah.
That's nice.
But look at this. It's 79 right now. Real feel is 95.
Oh,
We have so much humidity. Where is everyone? It's so quiet. How are you, Rebecca?
Hi, sorry. I'm walking around my kitchen trying to make lunch.
Ah, where are you again?
I'm in Boston. Yes, it's late for lunch, but
Okay.
some days you just don't get to it until 2 o'clock. So yeah, that's why sorry I didn't answer because I'm like way over on the other side of the kitchen.
Okay, we'll let you go eat. It's allowed. It might be a small week. I don't know.
Oh my gosh, my video's on. I'm wearing a work sports bra. It's not work appropriate. I was about to go for a walk.
Yes, we'd like to wear clothes in this video. So
I'm wearing clothes. Just not a lot of them. It's a scorcher outside.
that's true. You are in Georgia, right?
Yes.
What's the weather like there? Nice and cool?
Humid. It's a bit swampy out.
It is. So it's 79 here, but the real feel is 95. I've never seen such a huge difference. So that's pretty interesting to me. Okay, well,
Wild times for the weather.
I hear this winter's going to be crazy. So
cold or hot?
just crazy. Like they don't really know because of the whole El Nino thing going on. And I don't know, I've just seen a few videos on YouTube. One of my kids is crazy about science. So he watches science-y things and I get them in my feed and just like places that don't have snow are going to get hit with a lot of snow and places that normally have snow might be like super warm. It's going to be all over.
Yeah, somewhere out west has had so much snowfall that they're only closing 1 month this summer.
Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, well, hi everyone. We're going to have a little impromptu call on tech stacks and just talking all about that. And that's what I brought today is tech stacks. I asked Marie Elliott to jump on because Yvette had asked about using PlanHat for references and maybe reviews, and Marie responded to that. So I thought that'd be a great place to jump start or get started. Rachel's off and Rachel's back. And then anything else really that comes up along the way, but hey, who's that?
It is me. I'm sorry. I had to switch to my phone. I'm the worst.
You're fine. Okay, we'll just wait another minute.
Hi, Ari. Long time no see or hear. How are you?
Who
You're
is
on
that?
mute.
Who was that?
That's Tiffany.
Hey, what is going on?
I've just been interviewing as much as possible, and a lot of the places are looking into Influitive, which I usually use. So I'm a big champion for your platform and love all the people that I've worked with so far.
Oh, that's amazing to hear. I wonder how many people right now on this call are looking for work.
Ugh.
So we got
Me.
4, 5.
You got to hook it up, Ari. I mean,
Let's
Mary
say
is
6.
amazing at community. Yeah, people that you know. It's just, it's hard to sift through everything, right?
Yeah.
It is. It's hard to sift through.
It's hard to sit
And
through. It gets repetitive. It wears on you emotionally. It makes you feel less valued than you deserve to be. And it's really hard to zoom out and look at the macro level of like, this is happening across the board in all spaces. But it's really hard not to take it personally. And I just know I have so many friends, like dear friends, good friends that are just going through this. And it's a struggle, and my heart wrecks for it. And so I want to do whatever I can. So Mary, can I just say something random just because of the topic?
Sure.
please.
I had an idea, and I don't know if we're the best people to do it, if Captivate Collective is the best people to do it, or Mary, if you're the best person to do it. But I had an idea, just like a creative idea, and trying to work it in with all the priorities is, what if a third party, let's say I reached out to your former customers and said, hey, Tiffany is looking for a new job. And there's nothing that she does better than create relationships, build advocacy programs. I'd love it if you would leave a little testimonial about what it was like to work with her, and get like 4 or 5 or 6 of your customers and do a sizzle reel. And now you have something, what you go in, that allows you to stand out from the crowd and shows the deep connection that your customers actually have, the value that you drive for your customers. And I was thinking we could use something like a vouch, like make it super easy to do. So you just share a link. All we would need is like, who's the hit list? And it doesn't have to be us. I was just thinking, who would be a good person that third party you could point them to and say, hey, here's something that I have out there. I don't know. It's just something I was trying to think, like, what could I actually do to help in this situation?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Ari. I've got 2 former customers in my program who are advocates and references for me. And I think the ability to just offer that up when you're asked, you can just say, talk to my customer about how I do my job, I think has a whole lot of value, right?
Yeah, or even if they don't ask, proactively, like, here's some of my customers that I just finished working with and how they thought our relationship was and what the value I brought was. And so we can make the prompts very clear in what we're asking so that they're sharing value-driven responses.
Yep.
I don't know. Does anyone else find that valuable? Would that be something?
It's all valuable.
Yeah,
think that's a good idea.
it took me a second to catch on to what you were saying. I was thinking you meant like old jobs that we had, but you mean like clients that were in like our community or customer marketing and advocacy programs.
Yeah, so here, one of the jobs that I got earlier on when I jumped from kind of small to a larger company was I was meeting with the CMO, and before it, I said, I'm going against people that have more experience than me, have been around longer, but haven't built the programs I have. And so I was like, how do I stand out? And so I contacted about 15, and 12 of the 15 gave me letters of recommendations in less than 24 hours. And so when I came in, I came in with this tidal wave of all these letters of recommendations from my best customers. And they weren't mine, they were my ex companies, but they were all people that I had developed and built really strong relationships with. And it just wowed them to see that guy. You know, half of them were like, if I knew he was on the market, I would have tried to hire him. Stuff that really just like makes you seem critical component to what they're trying to add to you. So I don't know. It's just an idea, but
Kind of like Leslie's wall of love this week.
I didn't see the Leslie's Wall of Love this
Oh,
week.
you're gonna love it. Go check her post. It's beautiful. Yay,
It is
Leslie.
beautiful.
Yeah,
I
Ari.
did see the Captivate Collective one. I was like, that moved me so much. I'm like, that is so beautiful and
Oh
brilliant.
my God, I know. I was.
That's actually what made
Look at the layoff gift, right? Like,
That's actually what made me think that maybe they're the best people to run that. I don't know, because they're independent in a way. They're not a vendor necessarily. They're consultant. I don't know. Just brain.
I think that's a good idea. I mean, I think that's a great idea. And I mean, I've sat on a bunch of demos for various platforms to kind of give feedback, you know, like unbiased feedback. Hey, I think if you did this, this, and this, so I've done a lot of that just on my own. People have reached out, founders and so forth, have reached out to get me to sit on demos and tell them what I think about the platform and so forth. And I've used Influitive the most. I've heard of other platforms, the good, the bad, the ugly, and so forth. So I just give honest feedback because I think that's how people are going to make a better product, right? Is getting it directly from a user. And I've done a lot of that on my own and own time. And I've asked, like, in return, like, maybe you can just mention me or do a post. And nobody has done that though. So I need to be better at saying, hey, if I'm doing this, giving you feedback for your product for free, which is really valuable, then you can do some type of a LinkedIn post to thank me or something, right? And nobody has done any of it. So I just need to be better at holding people to their part of it. I'm giving them free feedback, right? And that's my expertise in the various platforms.
Yeah. And you're giving them your time, which is the most valuable thing you have.
Yeah, Kaylee just shared something too. Kaylee, you want to go ahead and share?
Oh, I just said you could also ask for LinkedIn recommendations, which I think Tiffany just mentioned. And I would imagine like timing is probably a really important element. So obviously this wouldn't apply for everybody here, but I mean, you know, as we've seen, a lot of the layoff posts that people do, which I know can be really uncomfortable. You know, when I got laid off in COVID, I didn't feel bold enough to make a post about it, but they do tend to get a lot of traction. And so I would, if you haven't made a post like that, perhaps you could make a post, and then the people who comment and say all these nice things about what it was like working with you, I would just immediately follow up and say, hey, would you mind copying and pasting that into a LinkedIn recommendation? Or even pin the post on your page, on your LinkedIn page, right? So the hiring managers, when they go to your page, they can click in and see all these comments or screenshots, right? Just take a big screenshot of all the comments on a page like that. If individual direct outreach isn't effective.
I didn't even realize you could pin a post.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the featured post at the top?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Got it.
And it's kind of go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think Leslie's experience, I think it was last week or the week before, we were on that call. I mean, that was gutting if you were on that call. Absolutely gutting.
Sorry about that.
Oh, go away.
No tears today.
Party pooper. Anyway, but no, okay, go away, because I'm talking about you behind your back or in front of your face. No, but I think what Leslie did right was she allowed herself to be vulnerable. And embracing the layoff is critical, because you've seen her posts and she's more popular than Taylor Swift right now. I swear to God. But again, Leslie taught us all a lesson about being vulnerable. There is no stigma behind being laid off. It's a badge of honor right now. But people can't help you if they don't know. So you got to allow yourself to be vulnerable. Understand that none of this has to do with you. It has to do with musical chairs and being in the wrong chair at the wrong time. And that there are people out there that want to help, they want to listen, they want to empathize, they want to support, but they can't do that unless you make yourself vulnerable like that. So Leslie has been a case study in how to just do that. It's crazy. Her wallpaper is awesome. Like, you should be able to
I
buy
think
it at Michael's or something like that, because that is awesome.
I think that's a double-edged sword, because there are people that are genuinely sincere that really want to help you, and there are people that do not. So I've
course.
been on both sides of it, being vulnerable, and not everybody's going to be raw and share this whole thing. Everybody handles things differently, right? I'm more of a small group person to myself, and I'm trying to be better at speaking up and so forth. But yeah, I've had vendors that I've said, and I've reached out to them, I've texted them, and then it's just crickets. It's like, do they
Sure.
really want someone to confide in about their layoff and talk them through that to help them with their headspace? I've given lots of pep talks to people that are looking for work. I've helped them interviewed. I've done all the stuff, and now they're doing great. They have a job, and I rarely hear from them. That's what's going to happen, right? But it's on both sides. Some people post things for PR reasons, to self-promote to whatever, and then they really don't want to talk to you. They really don't want to help. So, being on both sides of the equation, I've met great people, and I've met people that didn't really seem sincere.
Yeah,
So
but
we got to take each person in each situation and all that differently, right? It's not
Yeah.
all going to be great.
Yeah, but the people who don't want to help aren't going to help whether you talk about it or don't talk about it. The people that will help can only help if they know your situation. And yeah, there's a percentage of people who got their own stuff going on, who knows what's going on in their lives, but it's a sales funnel, right? Where you're doing a campaign about you, and there's some people that don't want to buy you, or they've got a you. But as you work that way down the funnel, it's going to be a smaller number, that there's going to be some people that once they find out about you, they're going to be interested in that. So again, that goes back to the vulnerability and understanding. I think that there are people who don't give a rat's ass. They got their own stuff going on, but there's also, I think, more people that want to help. They just got to know you need it. And that's about as motivational
yeah, I
as I
mean,
can be on a Friday.
I should probably do another like newsletter episode on like everybody who is looking, and just get them all in one place, and then try to grab as many like jobs as I can to post in that post too. So that's something I will work on. And then, because I feel like you guys are like my circle, I'm gonna tell you a secret. So Sendoso asked me to post that I quit.
Oh my God.
Megan's eyes.
Why?
Wait, you
Because they
should
don't want to sound like
post
there's
that.
ads.
You should post that. Like, put them on blast.
Oh, I
know,
think
but
you
like,
need to post it just that way.
There are
Yeah.
so many companies that are doing that. It's like disgusting, where they're laying
Yeah,
people
Dean.
off. Like most senior, like at the startup at Maven Link. Yeah, they did exactly that. Like your employee number 10, now we're going backwards. Now that we did the major stuff with the merger and acquisition, making it all pretty and giving you stocks and then taking it back because you're a bad leaver, because you got fired or laid off, you're a bad leaver. I mean, I didn't really have a choice, right? So all that stuff, it's terrible. They're like, you can't tell your team that, that you're just going to say that you quit. Sure, I quit with no job and a family to support and a mortgage. Sure, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I have a friend who was recently laid off as a VP, and she was told that she had to tell her team and everyone she quit, or they wouldn't give her. It was part of her severance
Well, that's
deal.
like a lawsuit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's her word against theirs, and it's just not always that easy, right? And
Yeah,
you
it
need that
costs
money,
money.
so you do it.
That's
Lawyers
hilarious.
cost money. Yeah.
I know. And she had just told her team, I'm going to stick with you through this change. I'm going to be here. She's like, so they made me a liar. And that bothers me the most.
Yeah.
Did you respond,
Bananas.
Leslie? Did you tell them no, or did you just ignore them?
So like the social gal like called me and was like pretended to just be like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh God. And she's like, I think there's a deal to be made here. And I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, you should just, she was saying like, you should position it this way, blah, blah, blah. And then I was just
deal
going
with
like,
the
yeah.
devil.
So then when Chris, the CEO, called me and started to say the same thing, I was like, oh my God, this is like a plan. Like they've been talking about this. And I said, he's like, because from a recruiter's perspective, I'm not going to want to, I want passive candidates. Like he's just trying to manipulate me, and no.
Not
And
my
so
problem.
I said, nah, I think I'm
$50,000.
Oh my God.
Wow.
I
I'd
was
say
like, nah.
50K and you got it. And then I would do it anyway.
Yeah. Well, I asked for more severance, but they said no. But I
I
said no,
want it in writing and then take a screenshot and do a post, Leslie.
no, because I still need them to succeed. Like I'm heavily vested, like
Sure.
an insane amount of shares. So, I mean, it's 5 years with split stocks all the time. So you can imagine. But I said, no, I think I'm going to lean into this whole laid off thing.
Absolutely.
And they were just both like, I don't think that's the way to go. And I'm like,
Gosh.
Right?
Every one of your posts that I see ticking up, I'm just like, yes.
yeah, I know.
No, embracing it is the way to go. And as for the people asking you for that, as we say in the South, we'll bless their hearts.
They
Exactly.
tried. They had to shoot their shot.
I've had somebody ask me that before too, to say that it was my decision, blah, blah, blah. And no, not gonna do that. Like I could put out the real answer and, we could let everybody see that, but instead I can say something kind like you did, and that just works.
I might have said, you know what? Now my new gig is an influencer and I charge per post. So if you want to give me $5,000, I'll be happy to post that for you, but I'll have to say that it's sponsored.
No, ask for like your full salary.
That is fucking brilliant, Dean.
Right?
That is brilliant. I love that.
Okay,
Leslie,
so
I
mean, I do think it's worth calling out though, like Leslie, if there is anything that does come back, like if they like try to push you anymore, I mean, I would consider getting a lawyer. Like you need to like CYA and make sure that like start to get all serious. I know we're like joking and supporting you, but like you want to make sure that you're like CYA. They have a general counsel on their back. They have HR trained people. Like they have a whole army of people behind them. And like, you don't want to get yourself into some situation where it gets like a little weird,
Yeah, I'm just worried that like all my posting about getting laid off is, I don't know if that's the whole, like, because I signed my contract as like, don't talk shit, basically.
Talking shit.
Which I'm not. I don't think I am.
No, you what I saw was amazing. And
You haven't seen
like,
one, you haven't had one negative post on your employer.
Yeah, you were gracious and like lovely. Like that's so not the issue, but like they clearly want to paint a picture that like everything's great here, nothing to see.
Yeah, I bet they did that internally.
When I got laid off, Ari sent me some article about new laws around that anyway, right, Ari? That is, and I don't think Georgia counted in that, but like I think California was in that article.
No, all of the United States, the FCC and labor rights law.
Okay.
Right.
It was just passed in February or something.
Yeah,
but I don't think they can actually hold you accountable if you talk shit, even if you were talking shit.
They cannot. So basically I've had to do this, which is, shut your mouth and we'll give you a LP severance, more than we normally would for most people. Like for instance, we give 1 week for every year that you were here. We're going to give you a week of severance. For you, we're going to give you an extra amount because you are a very visible person. But for that, there's a NDA that you have to sign, and you're not allowed to talk about any of the separation to anyone ever. So you can sign that, and then you can go say whatever you want because they cannot enforce it. So you don't say anything to them, because basically what the FCC passed is that you cannot do that. You cannot leverage someone's voice for silence.
Mm.
So do you have anything to share, Ari? Is there something, an opportunity or something that happened that you want to share about?
No.
Led you to discovering this law.
At said company that we shared, I just left. I didn't do a severance with them.
And Leslie, I think your approach has been so freaking amazing. I wish I had thought of it, but I do think it's prudent to not shit talk your previous employers because it's a very small world. It's a very small
Yeah.
community.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, like how
wanna-
many people are going to backdoor reference Chris Rudegrap? Like anybody, if I'm in MarTech, anybody's going to call him and say like, you know, how did it all go down? Or like, is she cool?
Yeah, so I think you're doing it exactly right. You're embracing the situation. You're staying above the fray. I wouldn't be bullied into saying anything that's not the truth.
Yeah.
Because eventually you're gonna have to explain that to somebody who has nothing to do with this. So, so it's a Picasso right now what you're painting.
I'd be real careful with what Dean just said, just because there's a fine line between shit talking and being authentic and helping others shield themselves from potential catastrophe. So at a past employer, I know several people had to literally go to therapy because they were degraded so much, they were beat down. And so they stood up for others. They knew it wouldn't look good for them. They knew it wouldn't look good for them, but they stood up to make it clear that this was the experience that they and others had had at this company so that others would be forewarned, because it was such a toxic environment. And so I would just be careful to not say like everyone needs to leave kind of graciously. Sometimes, you know, your integrity is more important than anything else. And so I just throw a little caution in that comment.
Very good idea. Okay, I'm taking over, and we
Okay.
are talking about tech stacks today. And I should have foreseen that, of course, we'd want to talk a little bit about the last call that was 2 weeks ago. But we're going to talk about tech stacks. Is Marie still on? You want to tell us about how you use PlanHat, which I don't even know what kind of tool it is.
Yeah, our customer success team uses it. It's essentially an automated project management tool that has a lot of reporting capabilities baked into it. I think of it as our customer success babysitter. It has specific plays that are built to nudge them based off of either triggered events, like a customer hits 90 days, a customer changes status, you know, renewals coming up, right? So it automates tasks for them. And then within it, it gives a lot of context. There's email templates that they can fire off directly, just click send within the system. They've got plays that they can also prescribe without triggers. So I've got 2 running right now that are marketing focused. And one is asking about references and online reviews. So I've got some webbing within the tool that, based off of what they think the customer is capable of doing or what the customer says they'll do, then they update fields within Salesforce. They complete the assigned tasks. I get notified about changes, right? So it's helping me streamline, knowing that they are reaching out to customers to ask for these activities. And it's updating our records, and they can't not do it. If they push the task out, we've got it built that they have to say why. So it's giving a lot of wider visibility into what those touch points are. And then the other one I'm running is for customer awards. So it's got just a certain group of customers that I identified that were going to be good candidates for nominations. And so then the play got prescribed to that segment of customers. It's not a triggered thing. It was a select segment of customers. So that's how I'm using it right now. It's allowed me to show that things are or are not happening, and gives some really good dashboard insights for like, are we on progress? to get to the goals that I have or not. I really love the tool, but we also have, other tools in our tech stack that I feel like may have some overlap in functionality. So it's been a good tool to start with for getting some accountability and some insights into how the customer success team is managing their customers.
Nice. So it has to be, they have to actually do the work. It's not you asking advocates, the customer success team is?
Right. So that is the high level on it. And then once the customer success team indicates what kind of advocate, then I'm going in with that information. So they have a stronger relationship than I do with the way we've got things built. So it comes across as more of the customer doing their customer success manager a favor versus me, who only deals with them on occasion.
Okay. And do you see this as something that will help you scale somehow? Or will this eventually kind of hit a peak where you'll have to bring in a different solution or use a different solution you already have?
Yeah, like I said, I think honestly, we've got Asana, we've got Salesforce, we've got Teams, we've got Slack, we've got BI, right? We have everything that it does, just in different systems. And I don't know that having PlanHat really would help me scale so much as it is just the system that they use.
Gotcha. Okay. Good point. Anyone else have any questions on that? No? Yes? No? Okay. You can put a question in the chat if you want. Definitely you have questions, Kaylee, or definitely to what Ari said?
Oh, sorry, to what Ari said.
Okay. Ari said that if anybody is interested in the customer sizzle reel, let he or Kaylee know and they can maybe partner together to make something happen for that to go through. So I'll try to remind everybody in the community next week too. So I always want to help people get work because I tend to hear very often when somebody new in our space is looking for work. I also hear very often when somebody's going to be hiring. But so what people ask will be like, hey, we're going to be hiring soon. Do you have a list of people that are looking for positions? I want to check them out on LinkedIn. And so I've been doing that. So let me know if you know of anybody else that is looking for work. I don't always know who ends up being hired with everything because it's just too much. But yeah, so I wondered how many people here had other questions or topics that they wanted to talk about tech stacks. And if anybody has seen any of these newer tools that are happening and what you think. Crickets, nothing? Okay. Well, I heard about a new tool that was coming in a few weeks ago, and they were like, we're launching next week, and they have not launched yet. So this is a tool that's supposed to make it easy, I guess, to ask people to be references. I feel like that is the biggest area where I've seen companies focusing lately. As you know, we looked at Champion several weeks ago. Was it several weeks ago? Might have been June, July. I don't know. I looked at the calendar today and saw that next month is September, and I'm like, wait, what? I feel like as I get older, the time goes by faster. I don't know if
Are
anybody
you
can.
allowed to tell us what that tool is, Mary, or is it top secret?
Which one?
The one that you said that was supposed to launch?
So it's not really top secret, but it's called You're Gonna Die. It's so funny. So we looked at Champion HQ a few weeks ago. This is Champions. Not kidding. I'm not kidding. They had planned to launch 10 days after Champion, who had launched early but really isn't ready to sell. And this week or last week, so Champions, and they invited me to their platform and I checked it out, but there's not a lot really there. And it's about like inviting customers in and giving them a place to like say, oh, I'll do this or I'll do that. But I think that there's a little bit more development that needs to be done there before that's really ready to go. And I didn't even give that feedback. They were all excited about launching and then did not. I talked to Earmarks this week and they have their first customer. I think that's okay to say. And that's an interesting platform. Who has heard of it other than Rachel?
I was just typing a message, but it sent to Ari because on my phone, Zoom, it always picks a person instead of everyone. So Ari, that wasn't meant for just you. I don't think you care. Yeah, I have an old colleague of mine who has another reference tool. He comes from the sales side of the business and is building something what I think is similar to maybe Dito and Champion HQ, and it's called Earmarks. But yes, Mary, you can share they have their first customer because they've posted it on their channels.
Okay. Yeah. Super nice guys, obviously, because that's what we say about everybody. But seriously, nice guy. And that is that I think they'll be adding other things eventually, but right now it's just about references and helping the sales team kind of automate it as quickly as possible. Similar to Dito, I don't think AI plays a huge role in it like Dito does. Like when I first talked to Dito, they talked about how they can track to see if a case study is making an impact on a sale and all of these other things that I haven't heard about as much in the months since then, as they've been talking more about references. And who else? Is there anybody else newer in the space that you're all hearing about?
When did you? I sat on a demo with Dito, but when was yours, Mary? It seems like it's just very limited functionalities is pretty much, and he was supposed to, we had another call with one of the founders I did with Aaron Barron, to go over reporting, but they don't really have much there at all. And this wasn't that long ago, like maybe 2-3 months ago, I'm thinking. So I don't know, has anybody used Dito? Has anybody, because I saw someone put something in the community asking questions about budgeting and pricing and things of that nature, but not sure if anyone has actually used the platform. I've sat on demos.
No, I've just been on the first demo, and I had another call with them where they like told me a lot about who they're trying to sell to, and some things like that, how they're trying to grow, but it really didn't focus on a lot of features at all. But mine was probably February, I'd say. Like it was quite a while ago that I had my first call with them. And I don't know if they were pitching me like an entire kind of demo or just this is what we'd like to have this is what our awesome tool will be. Because at that point, it was all about the AI of seeing how these different actions impact the actual sale. And since then, it's been mostly focused on references. And when I first talked to them, they were saying around like 10 to 30,000, but I'm hearing higher estimates in quotes now.
Reason all these people are having a hard time launching and pushing it. This shit's hard. It's not
It
easy.
is. It is.
Yeah.
Not a great market to be launching new stuff either.
I would love to know if anyone championed without the S who we saw the demo from, because they had some really killer ideas in there. And I'm like, how are they going to get that to work? Because we've been struggling and like, so I would love to know, is there anyone who's on that early adopter or beta and what that's like? Because I haven't heard.
Are they just more of a reference platform, Marion, or are they like competing with Influitive or Vanilla, like the more community platforms or the gamification piece?
No,
Are you
they're
talking
not.
about Champion?
Champion,
Without
no
the
S. Without the S. Champion.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
Champion.
Finding your champions. They're finding and sourcing and then putting them up through a bunch of really clever ways and through integrations with a bunch of different tool stacks. Really interesting stuff. It looked pretty on, but I was like, how are they going to deliver on it?
It looked great, which was kind of disappointing to find out later on that those were just like mock-ups.
When people just show slides and they don't walk you through the product, you know that's what it's going to be. I mean,
Yeah, I'm not that
slide
versed with these things, so I did not realize that. I don't know, like I think I wasn't as impressed with the idea of identify and activate, because in the past when I've used like Influitive for the program that I did at Demandbase, I thought that identification and activation were pretty easy with the community, but I know that a lot of people don't use a community, so it might be a little bit different. And having those cues from the other technologies like LinkedIn was the one that they had talked about, and several others. I think there's definitely some opportunity there, but I remember someone saying on the call that they're not sure if it's more of a nice to have secondary or a primary platform. And that, like, I didn't see it as primary just yet. What's up, Leslie?
Oh, yeah, I was just gonna say that that guy Jeff was like all about me at a time. He was like always wanting to meet with me and like talk about how we can work together and be an advisor. And then every time he showed me something that he was building, I just kept peppering him with questions, because like I'm not going to rep anything that doesn't work, and a lot of these tools just don't work. And I was pressing him on like the metrics and the measurements and how are you going to do that. He didn't really have an answer, and then he's like, he completely ghosted me. So we'll see what he comes back with.
Is he from Champion, Leslie, or who is he?
The Jeff Reekers guy. Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, Champion HQ.
Jeff Reekers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Champion. Okay, so is he like a developer guy or marketing guy?
I think he's one of their founders. But my reaction, okay, so I feel like he didn't know who I was, which was a good thing. When I asked in the chat about the Gong and LinkedIn integrations, he did not have a good answer for that. I know from personal experience that LinkedIn is one of the most difficult systems to integrate with. Yep. There's a reason that your Salesforce and HubSpot CRMs do not integrate with LinkedIn, and it's because they do not have an open API. They do not have a Workato connector. They do not have a Zapier connector at all. So I think that that is a fully aspirational idea that they are going off of. I think that it's it's not a new idea. I think a lot of the people in this space have had that idea and gone very far down the route of trying to get those types of integrations for that purpose, but there's a reason that it doesn't exist yet. Gong, on the other hand, like that's totally possible. In fact, that's a really brilliant way to like be capturing and pushing customer stories into your advocacy platform is through Gong, or like you can see I use Fathom. I think Mary does too. Any of those like video AI tools, that's something these are newer tools that can easily push into a platform. And that way, like your CS people who are on calls with customers, they can, identify these really happy moments, push them directly into the customer marketing team. All of those things have open APIs because they're newer. So that approach is totally like plausible and a great one. But I do think that the LinkedIn thing is they're going to run into the same hurdles that all of the other vendors in the space have run into, which is you can't really integrate directly.
I could never get Gong trackers to work. I mean, I did all the setup and for customer love, customer stories. For those of you who don't know, Gong has something called trackers, and you put in like keywords or like what you want to hear from people, and then like pulls and aggregates for you and sends you an email. But they were always wrong. So I never could get it. But Laudable, they offer that same thing, but I think it's like manual, but who cares, because it's great. And they pull the stuff that you want to hear straight from Gong, and they have an integration with Gong. So, and I've used that and it's amazing. Like,
Yeah, Laudable does have, I've talked to 4 companies that since the whole AI kicked up at the beginning of this year are going to be using information from your Gong in a different way to help customer marketing. 4 different ways. Like each of these companies has a whole different way that they're running with it, and it's super interesting. But Laudables is, I don't know how much information I can really share or who knows what about it, but it does work with Gong, and they pull in information, and it looks really promising, just seeing what they've done. And then there's 3 other companies that are going to be doing it, not to do case studies like some, but or like help with case studies, but just to kind of identify people and kind of put them in like the right workflow or something like that. Why are you not a Fathom fan, Ari?
Two things. One, back to the Gong thing. We have Gong directly synced on those trackers to where it updates in Slack. So we have keywords like loyalty, or we have like competitors all listed, and it brings it right into Slack channels that update everyone who's a part of the Slack channel, and it works really, really well. And it's an easy way to keep up on every other person's calls, both from the accounts and sales side. Fathom. So I was using Fireflies. I still kind of use it. And Fathom, I was on a Zoom call, and literally Zoom App Store like pushed it like as an app to download in the middle of our call. And I was like, oh, Zoom's pushing this. It's got to be good. It's Fathom Note Taker. And so we went through it. Their demo was one of the best demos I've ever seen. It was so cool. Like going through their whole clicking through that automated demo. I liked it so much. I sent it to our product marketers. So we need to do stuff like this. But then I got in, and the summaries it does are just crap. Like, one, it's really annoying. Like it does this, like Kaylee says, it's Fathom Note Taker. It announces itself when it comes in. It's really intrusive on every call. And then you have to like turn off non-video sharing people to like get rid of the Fathom Note Taker on your screen and all that. But then I compared the summary notes from Fireflies and from Fathom, and there was no comparison. Fathom basically took like the first couple minutes and the last couple minutes, and like that was your summary. And I did it on probably 4 or 5 calls, compared to like Fireflies, which really gave you like a real summary, a composition of what the call was about. So I just don't like it for those reasons.
That makes sense.
My personal experience.
I think that AI has improved over time, because I hadn't used the summaries before, because like you said, they weren't super useful. And I just didn't really like look into other tools, because this was solving what I wanted for it. But the summaries have really improved, and it pushes everything directly into HubSpot, which is cool. So
I think it depends on what AI they're using. So is it Chat GPT 3.5 for? Is it, I don't know, Bard or something else? Like there's so many different levels, and it really depends on which one of them and how advanced it is. I use just Cast Magic, where I just take the call afterwards and run it through Cast Magic. And I love that it pulls out quotes and stuff, because then I don't have to actually listen to everything. Ari, wink, wink. I might have read through some summaries of a call that Ari did recently, and I was like, oh, I want to listen to this, but oh, I'll just run it through the tool and see what it says. And there were some really great quotes, and I shared them back to Ari. So, you know, maybe there's some forgiveness there for not really listening to everything, but it is super helpful to just see the different formats of content that it spits out, and then it has a kind of chat with your episode. So it's for podcasts. Obviously, you can use it for any call that you are on, and you can say, oh, write a blog post about this topic, which you can do in open chat, GPT, whatever. But this is supposed to specifically go back to that episode that you were just listening to.
Fireflies.
So it goes back to the
Fireflies like diagnosis, like how much of the conversation was positive, how much was negative, who talked the most. It shows you all these stats. The thing is it's a freemium model. And I personally, when I looked at the price, I'm like, it's more than Netflix. I don't know if I'm gonna, I don't know if I can keep up with this, because, and the freemium model, like I run through that pretty quickly. Right. So it's like the beginning of the month, every month, like the first couple calls I get, and then I'm out of space. And I decided not to pay for it anymore, because though I liked it, I didn't like it that much. So.
Is that your bar, Ari? Is the Netflix subscription?
He always brings it up.
Penny pincher.
How many subscriptions? Stop it.
Let me tell you guys about EvaBot. Like, if this thing works, it's going to be so cool for customer marketing and advocacy. So they were talking to me about kind of like partnering, or me kind of getting on their bandwagon, not bandwagon. Anyway, EvaBot. So it is it's like a survey. So if you guys are familiar with my Help Spoil You form, and asks like a bunch of questions, and I use that at Google form with Zapier, and I push it into Salesforce. But this is its own platform, right? So it gets a lot of details on you because you're filling out the form, and like a lot of questions, kind of like 2 pages worth. I started to get a little annoyed, so maybe they'll like kind of shrink their survey. Anyway, what they're doing now, instead of just being a gifting platform, and by the way, I said I liked Italian food, and then I got a spaghetti on Friday for lunch, which you can pick. When it gets delivered, you don't know what it is, but it's when it gets delivered and when you're home. It's good. And then what they're doing with all of the information in AI is that the robots now will ping you and say like, Ari, or the Dolphins won the Super Bowl. That never happens. Ari loves the Dolphins. You should ping him now, and here is suggested. I mean, can you imagine that if with advocacy and like all of your advocates and something's like pinging you to reach out with like specific tailored content that's something that they really care passionately about? So cool.
What's this called again?
EvaBot.
EvaBot. Are they
That's it.
reaching out via LinkedIn offering to give you $100 gift box if you do a survey for them? Someone just reached out to me about that. They said it's a new AI-driven gifting / something, and they're like, "We'll give you $100 if you fill out this survey. We'll give you $100 gift box."
No, I haven't.
So are they competing with Sendoso and like Thing? Are they competing in the
I mean, obviously, I asked him that because I
category,
have a non-compete, so I like have to ask that for every gifting platform because they're all coming at me. Alice wanted to sponsor my newsletter, and I was like, or no, sorry, Postal wanted to sponsor my newsletter, and I was like, that's a big kick in the dick. Like, I'm not gonna do that like right now. Sorry.
Non-competes don't hold up in court.
Yeah, that's true. But so they're very low cost. So maybe 10K is like their highest platform fee, but it is going to be a platform fee. So yes, but they want all the kind of like SMBs and like lower.
So what was the name again? I'm going to respond to this guy with the name.
EvaBot, EVABOT. And then Zest is another gifting platform. They want to, work with me on content creation stuff, and it's another gifting. I don't know exactly, like I haven't gotten the demo or anything on how it differs from Sendozo, but I know it's a freemium model, so it's free. And then you upgrade to something else. So that's good. And then Testimonial Hero, I'm going to be working with them, so you're going to be seeing me post about it. But it's something that I believe in. They are going to do what Vouch does. So it's the testimonial self-capture. And I'm going to be offering free betas, so you guys can all try it for free. And if they do end up charging, it's going to be very minuscule amount. And then, they have the big old like fancy testimonials. So this is probably going to be used as their pipeline for that, right? Get everybody in, have them use this self-testimonial thing. And then, if you ever want a video, then they're there for you. You already use their platform. So I think that's their motto. But I have a bunch of like plays and campaigns and programs that use video, so I'll be able just to plug their name in there.
What's that one gifting, the one gifting tool you said that was free? That sounds like what Snappy does.
Oh, Snappy. Yeah.
Because I was forced to use them for a little while, and it was because it was free, which I didn't even know.
One?
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Yeah. Oh, every time I Google Zest, it changes to Zesty. That's not what I want. Anyway.
Has anybody ran into issues like those that are looking for work? Because I used to be an account manager, right? I manage enterprise accounts from Cisco, Starbucks, Disney, lawyers galore. I mean, you name it, right? I've been through it. But now it seems like I'm pigeonholed when I apply for a CSM job, or, it's just like they said, oh, but you've been doing this for the last 8 years. Yeah, but you don't forget how to manage accounts. I still manage accounts now. I ask people to do stuff for free for us. It's actually harder than you think.
Yes, I've run into that. I have 13 years account experience, but because the last 5 have been in customer marketing, I don't apply. No CS job will talk to me.
See, it's ridiculous. It's not like you forget how to sell or pitch or do any of that. But yeah, it seems like once you do something, you're pigeonholed, and apparently all this expertise that you have doesn't mean a thing. That's a little bit crazy.
I don't think it's like that they don't think you're capable. I think that they're just getting so many people that are coming directly from that job and are like, they're very well versed in what's going on right now in the industry, blah, 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 because they just left some XYZ company that's huge, like Dell or whatever. And so it's not that you aren't, that they don't think you're capable. It's just like we have these other candidates that are top of the line and they come directly from this job. So they automatically get moved a little bit further ahead. I don't think it's you.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's so many people looking for work right now.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. The amount of candidates. I mean, I think Ashley Ward told me when she posted that customer success or the customer marketing specialist role, in the first day they had 500, first 2 days, 500 applicants.
Holy shoot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I mean, I'm trying to be intentional. I'm not applying for beginner jobs, lower level jobs. I don't want to be that person that just, bogs down or the pipeline for other people. I mean, if it's a beginner job, a manager job, I don't. I'm intentional in applying at levels where I fit and not take up, the lower level ones. I know some people are just applying for everything and anything, and I'm not doing that. I don't feel good about that, and I won't.
No, you're
Yeah,
right, but there
I
are
haven't done
people.
that either, but there are just so many people in that you're competing against. And I think these HR teams are looking at automated resume tools, or maybe they're only getting through 25 and they find enough so they don't touch the rest of them until later.
Yep, that's what I've heard too. Or they're not exactly sure if they want to push you forward, but they push other people forward. And the next thing you know, you get the, oh, well, we had people that were further along in the process. And it's like, I applied the first day you had this up. Give me a real answer. But I don't ask for answers anymore either. I'm just like, if it's a good fit, then it's a good fit. If it's not, then
Yeah.
I don't want to be there either. I mean, I do want a job, I do want to work, I want to have an income, but I've jumped into positions in the
It's 3
past
o'clock.
that were not the greatest, and I regretted it a lot.
I
So,
have a recommendation for, I think this applies to any type of role, and people may be doing this already, but especially if you're looking to move back into account management, Tiffany, I would reach out to some of their existing sales reps and say, hey, I wanted to just find out how you're liking it there. You know, you might not need to like name drop anybody, and you can even say like, I was reached out to about a position, or I'm considering applying and I wanted to know how you liked it. And then see if you can get them to do just a coffee chat with you. And then that way you've formed a relationship, and they might, a lot of companies are comped on recommendations for new hires. Maybe not right now, just because of the demand for people looking for jobs. But if you can talk to somebody who's already in the position that you're looking, or that on the team that you're looking to join, and form a relationship, they might be able to give more of a warm handoff, which obviously is a lot more effective than just you having to go through the automated system. And even if you feel a little bit uncomfortable about it, like just think about the volume that you're having to go through of interviews and stuff, and having that like human connection and touch with somebody who's in the position now will probably make the whole thing a lot easier, especially if they're reporting up to the same manager that you would be, joining and reporting to.
Right. I mean, I've done a lot of that. I've had referrals, and I think there's just so many. Everyone's internally referring their friends, family, whatever. I've been referred to Okta. I've been referred to a lot of big companies, Databricks. If anyone's an engineer, Databricks, go there. CrowdStrike, a lot of people, and I know a lot of people too, but it's just really tough right now with the referrals and everything. I've networked a ton. I have a career coach for a while. I've done it all, so a lot of stuff to do.
well, we did have 6 people post in LinkedIn this week about new customer marketing positions that they started. So that was really exciting to see. Like, hopefully, we have hit the bottom and we can start looking up. And I've seen more community manager positions too, which I honestly think anybody that's doing advocacy work is a community manager, because there's so much involved with these relationships. But that's just my take. It's the end of the hour. Next week, we are going to have Jeannie Talbot, if I said her name right, and she's going to talk about PR and customer marketing and advocacy, and how they can kind of work together and help each other out. So I will see you all next week. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.